Chandler, Arizona, almost the site of the new fancy Firebird International Raceway, and we won there and won an 8:45, beating the Howard Camp's car in the final.
You came to Bakersfield as really the out-of-state invader. The fans were even a little rude to you.
Yes, they were. They were throwing stuff at us and hollering Dan garbage and stuff like that.
But you made some friends all the time.
Oh, yeah. Some of my dearest friends ended up from California. In fact, one of the guys that we were really competitors with in those days, Jack Ewell, who has since passed away, became one of my dearest friends. Never missed a drag race that wasn't on the crew when I was out there.
You put to the starting line for the first race. I think it was Tom McEwen or Ruby Race, and you had sunglasses on.
Yeah. Well, you know, I got that from Emery Cook. He drove in sunglasses and just a hat, and I thought, well, that's just exactly what I would do. And you see some of the old pictures sitting around there, that's what I was wearing.
Sports writers like to use the word slump, right, for a baseball player who's not hitting, a quarterback who's not throwing completed passes. Well, you found out what a slump is like in, what, 66, 67?
Yes, I had moved from Tampa to Detroit. We went up there to do a lot of work for Chrysler, and then we didn't like the weather, and we moved back to Florida. And I was running the same car, and of course I was running the 426 that Chrysler had just come out with, the new Hemi, and Wins had stepped up their sponsorship. The cars were called Wins Chargers. And 2 races in a row, 2 national events, the Winter Nationals and the Spring Nationals held in Bristol, Tennessee, we had failed to qualify.
How embarrassing that must have been for you and the crew.
It was terrible. And so at Bristol, we decided, we looked at the cars, and everybody was running the new lightweight, the spidery cars, and the team and I decided to come home and build a new car, and we built this car in 72 hours. It's often called the 72-hour wonder.
This is it?
This is the very one. And it's just really lightweight with no full body. And there were some new things on the engine, also the 426 that we were finding out, and we used those. And the very first time out, this car beat the famous Hawaiian, which was one of the fastest cars of that era.
Now, I remember when you were just so down, it wasn't because you weren't working hard. In fact, you were working so hard, you weren't even taking the time to shave. Now, the rumor was that you weren't going to shave till you ran in the 6s. Was that true?
Well, that was true. That's the way it was at the end. In the beginning, it was a fact that we went all the way from Bristol to Tampa, built the car, and back to race the Hawaiian in Muncie, Indiana, from a Sunday afternoon to a Saturday night. And so we didn't shave. We were only like sleeping 2 and 3 hours a night. And so we got up there, and it was time for the race. It wasn't even really time to shave before the race. So then we won the race, and we were so elated over how the car ran. We thought, well, we won't shave off our beards. It was the whole team is what it was. It wasn't just me. I was one guy on publicity. Until the car ran in the 6s. But it just didn't run in the 6s right away. It was like 701, 702. The 6 didn't actually come until the final round at Indianapolis for the U.S. Nationals.
Which was the second race on this car.
The second major race, right.
James Warren was your opponent in the final round. Everyone was on their feet. I remember the race so well.
It was an exciting, dramatic race. I remember I have pictures of it. I pulled way over toward the center to get out of the speedy dry. It wasn't rice ash then. And there was even some rolled up on the tires. I remember reaching out and wiping it off the tires as I went up the stage. And it was a really super close race. I just barely beat James, but it was really a super comeback because Fram Corporation was filming a documentary which was shown on national television. And of course everybody said, well, Big Daddy's back, and we got lots of bookings.